Okay, I just wanted to let you know it is working.
Thank you.
There, now you can see what you look like.
We still getting some more trustees on? Or let's see, where are we standing? I'm trying to see all the faces.
We are waiting for a couple more trustees, but we definitely have a quorum if you want to get started. Oh, here's Peggy.
Okay,
She was one we were waiting for.
all righty, good. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'll call the special Board of Trustee, University of Maine System Board of Trustees meeting to order. And our first item of business is that the board will go directly into an executive session. And so for that, I'm going to read the motion for that, and then I'll ask for a second. So, or a move and then a second. Could I have a motion for the Board of Trustees meeting to go into executive session on the provisions of 1 MRSA Section 405 6-A to discuss the evaluation of personnel and the consideration and discussion of appointments, employments, and duties? Could I have someone move that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Trustee Rotundo, and I think seconded by Trustee Michu. Ellen, could you take a roll call vote?
Certainly. Trustee Bartholomew.
Yes.
Trustee Kane.
Yes.
Trustee Doak.
Yes.
Trustee Dobson. Trustee Donnelly.
Yes.
Trustee Ames.
Yes.
Trustee Irwin.
Yes.
Trustee Gardner.
Yes.
Trustee Cates.
Yes.
Trustee Martin.
Yes.
Trustee McMahon.
Yes.
Trustee Michu.
Yes.
Trustee Riley.
Yes.
Trustee Rotundo.
Yes.
And I'll just check Commissioner Pender, Commissioner Macon. We are all set. Motion is carried.
Right, I think we've got everybody back. Looks that way. I'd like to call to order and reconvene the public meeting of the Board of Trustees on October 27th, 2021. I have some language I need to read first here. Due to participating via Zoom, with the elevated COVID cases in the state, this board meeting is being held virtually in accordance with the board policy 215, remote public meetings. The trustees participating by technology will be counted towards the quorum, and to confirm the trustees' attendance and to ensure that the trustees are able to clearly hear and understand the proceedings and each other, the clerk will take a roll call for the members of the board of the trustees. Ellen, could you do that?
Sure. Certainly. Trustee Bartholomew,
Yes.
trustee Kane,
Yes.
trustee Doak,
Yes.
trustee Dobson, trustee Donnelly,
Yes.
trustee Ames,
Yes.
trustee Irwin,
Yes.
trustee Gardner,
Yes?
trustee Cates,
Yes.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee McMahon,
Yes.
trustee Mishu,
Yes.
trustee Riley,
Yes.
trustee Rotundo.
Yes.
Everyone is present that we expected.
Thank you. This meeting is being streamed on YouTube. So the Board of Trustees meeting being streamed live will have closed caption available. And to assist the captionists, please remember to mute your Zoom connection unless you are speaking. Understanding on the citizens' comment, we didn't have anyone make the deadline for citizens' comments for this meeting. And I do want to remind those folks that one, we did receive quite a few letters, and we have circulated those letters to all of the trustees, and we've had those, and thank you for that input. But also want to remind that we will have another board meeting in just 2 weeks' time, roughly 2 weeks' time in November. And I'm sure there's still comments to be made. There's an opportunity right there. And Ellen, just to remind folks, the cutoff time on a board meeting is for the November one will be, what time would that be?
Will be the Friday before the board meeting.
And noon, is it noon on?
It'll be 5 p.m. Friday, November 12th.
Okay, well, that would be the time before that. Thank you. Our first action item, tab 1, is the annual financial report for FY 2021. And I'm going to turn this over to the University of Maine System Director of Accounting, Darla Reynolds, who will have a few things to just cover. We've covered a lot of this, many of us did today in the earlier meetings that we had, but Darla, maybe you could hit some of the highlights, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Chair Gardner. I want to share just 3 slides from my presentation at the earlier audit committee meeting. Can you see those?
Yes.
Okay. Oops. Let me get my notes. So I'll just touch upon a couple of things in summary from the audit committee meeting related to the system's annual financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2021, and that's located in tab 1 of your materials. This 110-page report is presented today, or to you today, for your approval. And although not previously shared with you in the materials for this meeting, as I mentioned, I'm going to share 2 or 3 slides from the audit committee presentation earlier today, and I'll make sure to get those to the board office so that they can be posted with the remainder of the board meeting materials. So in summary, FY21 included a mixture of key factors that you can see here on this slide 5. Some of those factors were, kind of neutral, like the bond anticipation notes, reclassification of Pell, the new accounting standard, didn't really have an impact on the bottom line. Other factors were good, investment returns, both on operating and endowment investments, the coronavirus relief funding, the changes in the system's other post-employment benefit or OPEB plan. While we still have that one negative of the pandemic that just doesn't seem to want to go away. But fortunately for FY21, from a purely financial perspective, the good factors outweighed the bad, enabling the system's financial position to increase by nearly $113 million. I'll note, however, that it's important to remember that these good factors that enabled this increase are not necessarily ongoing. For example, investment returns can fluctuate greatly from one year to the next. Coronavirus relief funding did help us with additional costs associated with the pandemic and helped us recover some lost revenues. However, they weren't sufficient to cover all costs and all losses. And those funds will be ending. And finally, the significant savings related to the OPEB plan, and I'll talk about that more in a moment, are not ongoing at the FY21 level. Now, the other thing I'd point out about this $113 increase in net position is that $79 million of it occurred in unrestricted net position. But the system's OPEB plan, which I mentioned was kind of a one-time thing, accounted for $46 million of the increase. And actual investment income in excess of what was budgeted accounted for $19 million, leaving $14 million generated from various other unrestricted activities. And going to this slide, I'd like to take a moment to just kind of talk about how the OPEB plan and changes that happened with that impacted the FY21 financial statements. You can see here that, I've listed certain lines from the statement of net position and lines from the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. You see what the total variance was, and then you see in the rightmost column how much of that variance was attributable to the OPEB plan. Now, historically, the system has experienced OPEB expense each year. For example, FY20, it was $9.5 million expense. However, during FY21, the system experienced OPEB income of $46 million as changes were made to the benefits offered to retirees age 65 and over. Now you can see the impact of that here in the change in unrestricted net position. So out of the 79 million, 46 is attributable to the OPEB plan. And that swing from the $9.5 million expense in FY20 and the 46 million income in FY21 accounts for this $56 million decrease from 20 to 21 in the institutional support expense line. Okay, so the change in benefits that are offered to retirees age 65 and over also helped reduce the system's total OPEB liability. And because the system previously established and continues to fund an irrevocable trust related to the OPEB plan, from an accounting perspective, the system can offset its total OPEB liability with the trust assets and record a net liability or asset. Now, historically, that net amount has been a net OPEB liability. For example, $76 million at the end of FY20. You can kind of see that impact here. But during FY21, the trust assets experienced an investment return of 27%. And combine that impact with the impact of lowering the total liability by changing the benefits, And the system was able to record a net OPEB asset of 18 million. And you can see that here under non-current assets. So with that, I'm going to turn our attention to the independent auditor's report. And just note that historically, when we've gotten to this point, the audit for the systems component unit, the University of Maine Foundation, is usually complete at this point. However, due to some manpower issues faced by the foundation's auditors, that audit is underway but not complete as of today. We worked with the foundation and with the state of Maine Controller's Office and reached an agreement that the foundation will provide, or the foundation's auditor will provide the audit opinion to us by mid-November so that our auditors in turn can complete the university systems audit and we can issue our final financial statements to the state of Maine by the end of November. Although we think that at this point, we have no reason to think that they won't meet that deadline. We did, however, feel that it was prudent to share with you what the audit opinions would look like if the foundation's audit was somehow further delayed and the system had to issue its financial statements with information for the foundation that's unaudited. So the foundation staff have provided us with a draft of the financial statements that they gave to their auditors, and that's what we've plugged into our financial statements. So that potential is kind of built into the proposed resolution that's before you today. So as noted in the resolution, a disclaimer of opinion would replace the unmodified or clean opinions regarding the foundation's FY21 financial statements, which are included in the draft annual report presented to you today. And I guess the only other thing that I would note is that this year's annual report did include a new set of financial statements, those covering the system's fiduciary activities. There's a new accounting standard that we call GASB statement number 84 on fiduciary activities, which basically covers the assets that the system holds on behalf of other entities. So examples of that are pooled endowments for some of our affiliates, and also other entities that are invested in our managed investment pool. So the OPEB Trust is invested in that pool, Maine Maritime Academy, and the Law Foundation is also invested in there. So those statements kind of cover the changes in those assets from beginning of the year to the end. And with that, that's my summary, and I would entertain any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you, Darla. Maybe you could take off your screen
Oops,
sharing.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Yes.
Good. There's everybody. Any questions or comments for Darla on the information that she shared? I know a lot of us have already been through it today a couple of times, so but it's very pleasing to see the change in net position this year. But we all have to remember there are some one-time circumstances that allowed it to be what it is, and hopefully we can continue to see good positive things as we go forward. But there will be a challenge there with some of these one-time events that was pointed out to us earlier. All right. Seeing no hands for questions or comments, I'll read the text of the proposed resolution, and then see if we can move that forward. The resolution reads that the Board of Trustees accepts the recommendation of the Audit Committee and approves the FY 2021 annual financial report as presented, except that should the University of Maine Foundation's audit fail to be completed prior to the University of Maine System issuing its annual financial report. A disclaimer of opinion would be replaced with the unmodified opinion regarding the Foundation's FY21 financial statements, which are included in these drafts. Could I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Bartholomew
Second.
Second.
and seconded by Trustee Kane. Ellen, could you take a roll call vote, please?
Certainly. Trustee Bartholomew,
Yes.
trustee Kane,
Yes.
trustee Doak,
Yes.
trustee Donnelly,
Yes.
trustee Ames,
Yes.
trustee Irwin,
Yes.
trustee Gardner,
Yes.
trustee Cates,
Yes.
trustee Martin,
Yes.
trustee McMahon,
Yes.
trustee Mishu,
Yes.
trustee Riley,
Yes.
trustee Rotundo.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Thank you, everyone.
That's good. Very good. Now we'll move on to our second item for this special meeting, which is tab 2. It's a charge to the USM, University of Southern Maine Presidential Search Committee. And I believe Vice Chancellor Thalen is going to lead us on that topic. You there, Jim? I'm trying to see you on this.
Yes, I am. I did have my camera briefly off a moment ago, but I am in fact here.
I see it.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Gardner and members of the board. We took advantage of the board having scheduled this special meeting at the end of October here after receiving President Cummings' eloquent letter stating his intention and request to step down from his presidency and return to the USM faculty as his contract gives him the right to do. That would occur as of June 30th next year, June 30th, 2022, which does give us an appropriate time period over which to conduct an appropriate national presidential search. So the materials that you have before you here today address both issues. They both approve President Cummings' request to return to the faculty. We felt it would be appropriate to have the board approve that arrangement because it's a contract right for President Cummings to do that. And it would be a return to the faculty with tenure. So I do want to be clear that is one aspect of the action item before the board today. And the second is similar in nature to what was before the board at the end of September with respect to the University of Maine at Augusta presidential search. We have a formally rigid process of constituting a presidential search committee that is tilted heavily toward campus representatives from the campus faculty, the hourly and salaried staff, the board of visitors, alumni and community representatives, the student body, and in USM's case, it's both the undergraduate and graduate student body. And then we have a process by which you as board members, ask the search committee once it is convened to finalize a profile of the type of candidates that we would be looking for when the position is publicly posted. We would do that in consultation with a nationally recognized search consultant. And all of that, I want to be clear, is underway. We've understanding that delaying a search could affect the quality of the candidate pool that we're able to draw. When we received President Cummings' announcement, we immediately began to make plans to make sure that we could draw together these campus representatives. I can tell you that we have identified roughly 3/4 of the named representatives, meeting all of the constituency groups from the campus. And Trustee Gardner, I won't speak for you, but I understand we have some trustees who will participate in the search as well. So again, just to summarize, the two action items within this resolution that are before you today are to approve President Cummings' request to return to the faculty and authorize the chancellor to make appropriate arrangements with President Cummings about that return. and then also to formally launch the search with the expectation that we will convene a search committee and finalize a profile that we will bring back to you so that we can have a robust search, a national search, and attract appropriate candidates to lead the University of Southern Maine forward. I want to thank President Cummings for his cooperation in working with us to quickly bring this before you and take advantage of the timing of your meeting today. Certainly we're all in his debt for positioning USM to be successful with the president who will be selected to lead USM after him. And I'm certainly happy to answer questions, but otherwise I'll turn it over to you, Chair Gardner.
Thank you, Chair Thalen. Vice Chair Chancellor Thalen. Just to answer the question on who will be the trustees, we have 3 trustees who have graciously accepted the being part of this committee, and there will be Trustee Eames, Trustee Irwin, and Trustee Cates, and Trustee Irwin will chair the committee. So that will fill out the committee from the trustees standpoint. And thank you for volunteering to do that. With that, I'll come back to your question. Vice Chancellor Thalen, is there any questions for the Vice Chancellor? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure that this is not the meeting where we should say all the nice things about Glenn. We're going to wait on that until the summer, right? Until like the end. I just want to make sure everyone who's watching knows that we have lots of nice things, I think all of us, many of us, to say about Glenn, and we'll have plenty of time to roast him or toast him in whatever way, hopefully in person at maybe a meeting before the end of his tenure as president.
Let's all hope for sure that it can be in person, because it would be not so much fun. It'd be fun by Zoom, but not as much fun as in person. So
definitely not as much fun.
All righty, I'll read the proposed resolution. Then it goes that the Board of Trustees approves President Cummings' request to step down from the University of Southern Maine presidency as of June 30th, 2022, and return to the faculty with tenure, and authorizes Chancellor Malloy to make appropriate arrangements with President Cummings related to his return to the faculty, with the expectation that such arrangements will be brought back to the board for final approval before the end of President Cummings' term as president, and approves the preferred characteristics and priorities for the University of Southern Maine presidential search as discussed, which will be further developed by the Presidential Search Committee and selected search consultant in the presidential profile to be used for the national search. When charging the committee, Chancellor Malloy will transmit the University of Maine System Board of Trustees preferred characteristics and priorities to the search committee and the search consultant for the use in describing the position and guiding the work or of recommending the final candidates for the University of Southern Maine next president to Chancellor Malloy and to the board. Could I have a motion to move this?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Riley, and I heard a second, but I didn't see the second.
Jim.
Jim, okay. By Mr. Donnelly. Any questions or further comments on the motion? Seeing none, Ellen, could you take a roll call count?
Certainly. Trustee Bartholomew,
Yes.
Trustee King,
Yes.
Trustee Doak,
Yes.
Trustee Donnelly,
Yes.
Trustee Ames,
Yes.
Trustee Irwin,
Yes.
Trustee Gardner,
Yes.
Trustee Cates,
Yes.
Trustee Martin,
Yes.
Trustee McMahon,
Yes.
Trustee Mishu,
Yes.
Trustee Riley,
Yes.
Trustee Rotundo.
Yes.
The motion is carried.
Okay, thank you. That was the end of our items for this special meeting. I would note that the next board meeting is just a short few weeks away. It will be November 15th, 2021, and it's going to be by Zoom at this point in time. It will be Zoom for this meeting. as we've talked many times, we're hoping that this pandemic will finally start to wane and we can get back to in-person meetings here at some point soon. But for November, it will be by Zoom. I wish you all the very best and thank you. And with that, I don't believe we need to take a vote to conclude. We just can declare the meeting is concluded and thank you. We'll see you at the next meeting.